Hey everyone, welcome to a early morning special edition Project Next Mad Voters collaboration. I am with Veronica Combs. She is a friend of mine. I her because she also cares about democracy and making our government more reflective of the people. And she asked to talk about something really amazing happening across the state and happening in New Albany with Mad Voters called Civics Literacy Labs. Veronica, before we get started, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? I'm losing internet. A little bit about yourself, including why. There we go. I'm back. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are doing this and what you did before? Because, like in the last election, is pretty exciting too.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Sarah, for joining me on a Friday morning. I really appreciate the time. So I'm Veronica Combs. I live in Floyd's Knobs. Last election cycle in 2024, I ran for county commissioner in Floyd County. It was my first election. I wanted to see how the process works. I knocked on doors and just did a whole bunch of outreach to folks, and I learned so much. I also ran with 3 other women who were running for various local organizations, and it really just gave me a window into the government, right? I was not super familiar with the county commissioner structure until I started running and started learning about the government. And as you probably know, we need to do better at voting and getting involved in government in Indiana. So my friend Shauna Graff and I founded Floyd Forward. And the idea is that we want to focus on local candidates. We want to help people raise money. We want to help people get the word out, like on awesome shows like Project Next. I think the hard thing about running for office is you have to do everything, right? You have to be on podcasts, you have to go on TV, you have to be on the radio, you have to write, you have to be in the paper, you have to talk to people all over the place. And it's just kind of intimidating to all the stuff to do. So Sean and I started Floyd Forward, and we just launched this month, and we really wanted to work with MadVoters. They're a statewide organization, and they make it so easy to understand what's happening at the State House.
Yes, they're the MadVoters is the reason I felt confident to run for State House, because I was like, I don't know what's going on with local government. Nobody's teaching me this. I didn't know anything. And then for like an entire year, I read MadVoter graphics and I was like, oh, well, I can definitely do better than the person that's representing District 70. I can do this. And so MadVoters is like a huge reason why I'm here right now talking to you. So that's really cool. Now, what was the organization that you're just starting? What was it called?
It's called Floyd Forward.
Floyd Forward. And what is this?
Floyd Forward is a brand new organization. Our focus is county elections. So if you're running
that's good.
for county council or sheriff or township
trustee, township advisory board, so, judge, what is it? We got a lot on the ballot and coming up in November 26th. Yeah.
Right.
Which is only a year and a couple months, like a month and a half away. It's not that long. It's like,
So, it was a long session this year up in Indianapolis. So they were there for 4 months. And I organized a couple house parties because I read that only 24% of Americans have ever contacted their elected officials. And, it's a little intimidating. And so we rounded up some Mad Voter information. This is the issue. This is what it means. This is who to call. And I just called my legislator in front of the group. And then people broke off into other rooms and did it themselves. Some of them wrote emails. But just taking that first step, doing it the first time is hard. But then you're like, well,
you're so right. Doing it the first time is really scary. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know all the issues. You feel uneducated and unprepared. So that's a really genius idea. Just everybody get in a room, show them how to do it. I try to do that with Project Next stuff. Show them how to take the initial step. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I get it. I think we kind of think we're intimidated by new stuff, but other people aren't. Most people are intimidated by doing something for the first time. Yeah, I recall calling Erin Houchin for Tim Peck and not getting anywhere. And I've never got any confirmation that she's ever heard anything about me. And I am in her district 9 for Congress. She's our congressperson. And so I figured it out then while I was running for State House, how to do it. So that's a really good idea. And then also, most people don't know about Indiana government. So we have 100 state house reps, 50 state senate reps, State House, you elect them every 2 years, state Senate every 4 years, and then they're passing legislation that then goes to the governor, and the governor either passes it or doesn't pass it. But since we have a supermajority of Republicans, even if the governor says no, the supermajority can say, no, we're going to pass it anyway. So they're kind of like this bully force that can do whatever they want. So they have no reason at all to listen to the people, to listen to Republicans or Democrats or independents. They have zero reason to listen since they hold that supermajority. And so if we can just flip, I don't know how many it is. It used to be 4. I don't know whether we lost any seats, if it's still 4 in the state house, but if we just could flip a few state house seats in this next election, we can stop the supermajority. Now, our governor, Mike Braun, went ahead and passed every single piece of legislation that went on his desk from the state house and the state senate in this last session, even the ones that weren't popular. Like I would say the most unpopular one was the partisan school boards.
Mm-hmm.
And so now in Indiana, our school boards are partisan.
Which was supported by one of our local senators, Gary Byrne. He's the one who introduced that bill. So
he's really big on getting into our schools. He really wants control of like what our kids read and what information they're learning. He really wants to suppress information. For some reason, he's very scared about kids learning about things that are like true. Yeah.
So, yes, it's true. And I think people don't always think about government, right? You're taking care of your kids and going to the grocery and going to the game and working on the car, and you're not plugged in. But then something changes, like you said, like now we have partisan school board elections, or now some services that we were counting on are not going to be there anymore. Now we have a wheel tax in Floyd County because
we have one in Harrison County too. Yeah.
Because the state Republicans made their local Republicans pass this extra tax so they could get it. So anyway.
And that's SB 1. That's Senate Bill 1 that was passed this past election. And it's extremely harmful to every person in Indiana. Even if you're wealthy, it's still harmful to you. And this is because they have the supermajority, so they don't need to listen to us anymore. And then what the state did is it's so cruel, in my opinion. They make the counties pay for these taxes. They're like, we're not paying for it anymore. We're going to make the counties do it. And the counties look like the bad guys. And I'm hoping every single county in Indiana spends some time saying, no, this is the state's fault. This is our state house, state senate, governor's fault. This isn't our fault. We need to vote differently next time if we don't want this to keep happening. I don't know if you hear this, but I hear a lot about political talk because of Project Next and me being in this world. And I've heard they're planning something worse for next time, for this next session.
Well, so I think, people say, well, does it matter? Will they listen? And I've talked to current and former legislators, and they keep track of how many calls they get. And so, and at one point they were writing them down on index cards or post-it notes or whatever. So, if the don't do it stack is bigger than the yes, I approve stack, that still sends a message. So part of the reason we wanted to support the Civics Lab, which is next Saturday in New Albany at 1:00, it's free. There will be snacks. We just want people to know that it does make a difference. And if you're silent, then it seems like you're okay with it, right? Well, okay, sure, I'll pay $30 extra a year for a wheel tax. And okay, I won't go to the health department to get my car seat checked out. Or okay, the library's closed now on, several days a week. Or in Floyd County, we won't have recycling anymore. I think people are like, why should I bother to call when they don't listen? And we want to make it easy for them to call and to encourage them to call, because it's still there in the back of your mind, right? If I've met with you face to face, I went up to the State House for an advocacy day in February, and it really does, eye contact and showing up really does make a difference. So I think in Indiana, we want to make it easier to show people to show up. This is why, this is how. Next Saturday, people will leave with a sheet that says, this is your senator, this is your state representative. And also, it will also include some information about the impact of SB 1, as you mentioned, the local impact. So what does it mean for Floyd County schools? What does it mean for Floyd County services, or Harrison County, or Clark County, or everyone's welcome. MadVoters is nonpartisan. MAD stands for Mutually Assured Democracy. So They don't tell you who to vote for. They don't tell you what to say when you call your legislator. They just want you to call your legislator and share your opinion. Doesn't that spend everything? Just call on what matters to
And
you.
if you are supporting legislation that the majority of Hoosiers want, they shine a light on that. MadVoters is very good at highlighting any candidate or elected official or anybody that's pushing for things that would help actual everyday Hoosiers. And it's not that we're trying to that MadVoters is trying to bully one political party. It's that because this supermajority happens, they are no longer listening to Republicans, independents, or Democrats. They're not listening to anybody because of the supermajority. So it can look like it's not like that it is partisan, but it's just the way things are happening in Indiana right now. So, try not to take it personally if you vote Republican. There's a lot of Republican ideals that I think are fantastic, that are great. It's just in the state house in Indiana, they're not listening to us. They're not doing those great things. They're actually doing things to harm us. And you should be noticing, even if you're busy, you should be noticing taxes are going up, energy bills are increasing, public schools are being defunded. I don't know if you know this, Veronica, but in North Harrison High School, my son's school, they just recently had to redo the whole schedule a few weeks before school started, because the state keeps giving them new requirements. And the only way, with no money to do the requirements too. So they're trying to hurt public education as much as possible right now. So my kid, all the kids at North Harrison High School have 2 days a week. That's a, what's it called? A block schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 days a week that it's normal, because they had to add so many classes. That was the only way they could do it. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, how are the schools surviving? Because we just keep adding more requirements, taking away funding, and then putting more on them. And it's hurting our schools. And then they go after our schools and they say, look, our schools aren't doing a good job. It's like, you're doing it. You're the reason they aren't doing as well as they could. I mean, what type of gaslighting is that?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. Okay, let's talk about this Civic Literacy Lab. So there's several. There have been some already in other places around Indiana, and I'd just like to thank MadVoters for doing this. I'd like to thank all the volunteers for running them. Who is running the one in New Albany?
Deanna Bryant,
Oh,
who
she's amazing.
amazing. I met her during my campaign last year. I met so many good people last year. So she and I are working on it together.
Oh, nice. Thanks for doing this, Veronica.
Yeah. Well, so the point behind the lab is to help people connect the dots. Like something,
Yes.
and you're like, why is this happening? Why would you do this? Why, Gary Byrne, would you not want consent to be in sex education? Why would you, Ed Clear say one thing and do something else? And so, Wendy Dantchesser, are you consistent with what you've wanted, what you've said you'll do and what you'll do? And so I think when people are supporting unpopular policies or votes, they count on people not paying attention and not connecting the dots.
Yes.
So they're not listening right now, but when they come around for re-election, you'll know, oh, this was the sponsor of the bill. This is who voted for it. And this is what happened. So tell me why you thought this was a good idea, or tell me why, like you said, you increased all these requirements, but you cut our funding. My mom was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. Public school teachers do really hard work and they're so dedicated, and it's not fair to ask them to spend their salary on art supplies or science project supplies or whatever. So yeah, I think
and I'm having teachers quit locally in the public schools around here. My kids will have them. They're wonderful. I have a meeting with them, and then they'll say, I just want to let you know this is my last year. And then they'll tell me, well, I couldn't handle the bullying. I couldn't handle the online bullying, the public pressure that I'm doing a terrible job. And, it's like, I can't handle it anymore. So it's like, we're losing good people because of this stigma that we're putting on teachers, these fake things we're highlighting, not every single teacher is great. And it's like they find one in one state and they highlight it. And then they were like, all teachers are bad. And it's a problem. It is a problem. So I appreciate MadVoters just trying to get the truth out there, the facts. And then how do we stop this? Because this is one of the big reasons I'm involved, is to save public education, because my twins are in first grade. Like
wow.
We have to help the public schools around here. There aren't other good quality schools in my county. We have to
Right.
have the public schools do this.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. So this sounds great. So if you are super into what's going on and you kind of know, come to the Civic Literacy Lab and see what else you can do. If you are brand new, you don't know anything about the state house, you don't know anything about state senate or what the governor does, that's okay. This is where you can come and people teach you. They're not going to ridicule you and be like, you didn't know that. It's okay. I didn't know just a few years ago. I had no idea what was going on. So yeah, so you go, it's at the Cultural Arts Center
Mhm.
Saturday, September
Right.
27th at 1 in New Albany. There's another one that I was made aware of. There's going to be one in Carmel at the Carmel Public Library November 8th at 1 o'clock. And if you go to madvoters.org, you can put your email in and get a newsletter, but you can also just use their website, which is excellent, to find out what's going on, what bills are being passed, who to call to say you're against this thing or you want to support this good legislation, because we are getting ready for the next legislative session, right? Do you want to tell them a little bit about how that works and when it starts? And
Yeah, so it starts in January, and so this year in 2025 they had to pass a budget, so it was a longer session. But I think that's one thing that people don't know. It's short, right? It's only a few months. In the short years,
it's a part-time job.
yeah, it's a part-time job. And so you think, well, I don't really want to call today. I'll call tomorrow. Well, tomorrow it might be too late. So it's really important to pay attention. You have to laser focus when they're in session and see what they're doing. And we did knock down some of the bad things that they tried to get through this year. And the MadVoters, they have a spreadsheet and they have volunteers who update it every day. So you could see, oh, a bill, a proposed legislation has to go through 3 readings. And so they'll tell you this one is the very first. So maybe it won't get out of committee, but this one is in its 3rd reading. So it's almost finished and it's going to head to the governor as long as it passes the House and the Senate. So it's really a way to just understand what's happening, make the connection between what's happening in Indianapolis, which kind of feels far away sometimes, with what's happening in our counties, in Corydon, in Clarksville, in Salem, and Palmyra. There really is a connection, and we really do have to pay a little more attention, because to me, it's about the future. That's what Floyd Forward is about.
Yes.
Future, right?
I like the word forward in there. That's a great word. Yeah, we're trying to plan. I'm trying to make life better for my children.
Right.
If we keep this going,
Right.
Indiana's not going to be a good place for them to live and grow up.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
And we have to think ahead. We have to have a vision for the future, because, if the water's bad and the air's bad and there's no school bus for my kid to get to school, then what does that mean? I think businesses aren't going to locate here if they
why would a student graduating from IU Bloomington want to stay in Indiana right now? There isn't a whole lot of incentives for them to want to stay, and we want those people. We want those people. We want their smart jobs helping Hoosiers. So yeah, I just really want to thank MadVoters and kind of shine a little bit of a light on what they actually do. Since we have the supermajority in Indiana, they're passing laws that a lot of times hurt us. Sometimes they're passing favorable laws. One of my favorite ones being they allowed drug test strips to not be illegal like they used to be. So now if you're trying to, if you're a recovering addict, it can save your life instead of you being arrested for having something that could save your life. So good job. And I credit Hoosier Action for helping with that and a lot of other great organizations. So there are some laws that get passed that aren't terrible, but a large majority of them are hurting Hoosiers. Do you think the people that are passing these bills into law are mailing you information that this is going to hurt you? Do you think that they're getting on social media and saying, guess what we just passed? We just passed this bill that's going to defund public education, harm libraries, make your energy bills go up? Shockingly, no. They are telling you zero. And even the information that's public, if you go to the government website to look it up, it's hard to find and confusing. And most people don't have time nor do they do that. So we have to rely on people like MadVoters, organizations like MadVoters, who spend hundreds and hundreds of the hours of their free time for no money tracking this. They're watching the live feeds in Indy at the State House. They're taking notes. They're like, wait a minute, what did they say? And then they're pumping it out on social media and on their websites and on newsletters, and then we're like, what? And then they're like, call your representatives. We only have a few days to stop it. If we didn't have MadVoters, we would be completely blind, and it would just keep happening, and our lives would just keep getting harder. So we're still in the phase, I think, of, oh, this is bad. We just keep finding out bad things. But if we keep organizing, like Veronica, you guys are just starting this other great group, Floyd Forward, and you're going to help people fill up your ballot in the county. Other people are organizing too. So have hope, everybody. Because of groups like MadVoters, we're able to organize locally, work together with other organizations, shine a light, get people on the ballot. And then if we can get people to vote in this next election and we can stop the supermajority, this can end. We can stop this. And then we keep going and we like vote people in that actually want to help Hoosiers. We start passing things that help us. I mean, don't you see that being possible? Because I think right now a lot of people feel hopeless. But Veronica, with your group, hopefully that's going to help fill up your ballot in Floyd County. Floyd County is one of the rare places that's purple. It got pretty Republican in the last election, and now you guys sort of have a supermajority in Floyd County, but it was very close, right? It was close. So in Floyd County, y'all can fix this. You can stop the supermajority if we can just like pay attention to local elections a little bit instead of just going in and voting for the president, which this next election you can't. So that should help us, right? What are your thoughts on this? Because I feel like a lot of people are just hopeless right now.
So I think three things to remember. We got to take baby steps, right? It's really hard. It's really hard, but we have to take baby steps.
We can't just snap our fingers and Indian is better.
We have to
right.
So we have to try. And you have to be in it for the long haul, right?
Yep.
When you think of some of these social movements, things changed in the 70s that people didn't like, and it took them 50 years to get what they wanted, but they kept going and they got what they wanted. And I think we have to take the same approach. So in it for the long run, baby steps, long run. And the third thing is that we pay their salaries, right? We don't work for the elected officials. They work for us. We pay their salaries. Our tax dollars are the reason that they have health care and office and all this power. And so elections are really, it's a job interview. It's a hiring process. We want people in Indianapolis, in Harrison County government, in Floyd County government, in Clark County government to look out for us, right? I can't go to every planning meeting because I have a job. Other people have caregiver responsibilities. Other people just can't get there. So they're supposed to be looking out for us. I think we need to remember that, and our elected officials need to remember that. And again, that's part of the don't be afraid to call. Here's who has to listen to you. At least they have to take your call and get your email. And here's what's happening, and here's how the connection to our towns and our cities. So I think that, it's a long slog. We have to take baby steps, and they work for us. And
those are really, really good points, Veronica. Yesterday, we had a nationally kind of famous person come to Indiana. We had Pete Buttigieg, who was the mayor of South Bend, I think. Mm-hmm. And then he ran for president, and then he became transportation secretary. And I think he did a really good job during the 4 years of Biden administration. I think he did a really good job of making better laws, especially for air travel, to help the consumers, that because a lot of weird things happen when there's bad weather or luggage problems or whatever. So I think he did a good job at that. He came into Indiana yesterday. My Facebook feed was full of my friends getting pictures with him, and I'm very happy for them. Why was he in Indy yesterday, Veronica? Can you fill us in on this?
So I do want to say again that MadVoters is nonpartisan. So this is me speaking. This is not representing MadVoters, but Donald Trump's policies are not popular. They're hurting people, right? They're taking away food. They're taking away mental health counseling. They're taking away support for farmers and health insurance. And so if you can't win on the merit of your ideas, you have to cheat, right? Make it really hard to vote. Make it really confusing. Tell people
And
everything is
Indiana already is one of the hardest states to vote in out of all 50 places. So
so,
this is surprising to me that we're trying to make it even harder to vote. But
yeah.
yes, yes.
So they want to rig the system. So now we have we have 9 congressional districts, people we send to DC, and there are 7 Republicans. Aaron Houchin is one of them, and there are 2 Democrats. And
Andre
so
Carson and Frank, what's the other one?
Mervan.
Yeah, Mervin. Yeah.
And so so Donald Trump wants Republican states to change the maps to essentially make it that Democrats' votes don't count anymore. So instead of having 7 Republicans and 2 Democrats, there might be all Republicans, right? So Democrats would have no representation.
And people are like, why does that matter? Why does changing the maps matter? Well, it's really important to realize Indiana is not a red state. We're actually 43 to 47% Democrat. I would think at this point we might be higher because of all the hurt that the supermajority has caused. So that doesn't make sense when you're like, wait a minute, 43 to 47% of Hoosiers are Democrat, but we only have 2 out of 9 congressional seats. That's gerrymandering, but that's messed up, but they want to mess it up even more.
That's
And they're
right.
trying to make 9 out of 9, give us 0 voice,
Right.
which kind of is ridiculous because Indianapolis is a major city and that is heavily Democratic. So they're trying to like, we've seen a lot of like maps come out that have leaked that could be possibly be the new maps where they're changing the lines for each congressional district, and some of them they're cutting into Indy, which is technically a national, like illegal. You can't do that. You can't mess with you can't do racial gerrymandering, but because our Supreme Court isn't exactly following the Constitution at this moment in time, I think they're thinking they might be able to get away with it. So it's a little bit scary, in my opinion.
Right, right. And I think the governor has said things like, well, we're just a real Republican state. But I looked up the numbers, and 1.1 million people voted Harris Walls in November. 1.1 million people. I mean, 1.7 million people voted for Donald Trump. So he won the state fair and square.
He won the state.
But when you think about it that way, how is it right to erase 1.1 million people who pay taxes, who volunteer in their communities, who are engaged and who care?
I mean, it doesn't just take away the Democrat vote. It takes away the Republican vote too, because your voice doesn't matter. They can get away with doing whatever they want. So before you say you completely support your political party, come to the Civic Literacy Lab, follow MadVoters, get engaged locally, because very quickly you will see these Republicans aren't your typical Republicans. They're actively doing things to hurt you. I had Christopher Machen, a Republican, on my show yesterday, and he fully supports public schools. Here's an active Republican. He like helps with Republican campaigns, actively supporting public education. So we can't just assume all Republicans want public schools to fall and become charter schools and religious schools. You have to realize this is the supermajority because of this type of stuff, because of this gerrymandering. I ran for state house in District 70. They've gerrymandered that, and at least they did it at the right time after the census, because you're supposed to redistrict and redraw the lines after the 10-year census, which is like 2020, 2030, not in the middle, not in 2025. But in the last one, they took out little towns or big towns like Georgetown and Sellersburg from my district. So it would be very, very hard for a Democrat to win. And that hurts Republicans. It hurts everybody, because Karen Engelman, who is our representative, has no incentive to do what the people of the Harrison County want.
Right, right. And if your ideas are the best, if you have the best business vision for the future, if you're taking care of people, good jobs, good healthcare, a place that you want to live with parks and libraries and playing fields, then you should be able to win on those ideas. Why do you need to cheat to win? That's the part that I don't get, right?
Yeah. If you're doing favorable things that most of the people want, you don't need to cheat. People will want to vote for you.
Right. And so one more set of numbers for you.
Sure.
So last year, presidential election, everybody turns out. Last year, 64% of registered voters in Indiana voted. So yay, 64%. This next year is a municipal election year. So commissioners, county council, sheriff. And the last time we had one of those elections, 21% of people voted.
Wow.
So 2.8 million registered voters and like 590,000 people voted.
So if
come to the
we
Civics Lab.
vote for
Yeah.
this off presidential year election, our vote counts a lot more than when you voted during the presidential election. And I also noticed with the numbers, I don't know the specific numbers, but I know Republicans turned out to vote for Trump, and Democrats, a lot of them stayed home because they felt hopeless. And that really hurt those small races. Like it hurt Floyd County, it hurt your race, Veronica, because if more Democrats would have turned out in your county, Floyd, where it's purple, it caused the Republicans to largely win. And now they have a supermajority, and now they have no incentive to listen to you. That's why they're getting rid of favorable programs like recycling and stuff, because there's no reason they need to listen to you, because they just think they can do whatever they want and keep getting voted in. So if we show them November 2026 that no, we are paying attention, we do know, because awesome people like you and MadVoters and all the people organizing and all the people getting the word out about what's happening, they're doing the work, so the voters turn out. There's a possibility that they gerrymander all 9 congressional districts and it doesn't work for them. That is a real possibility, because guess who's grown a lot in the last couple of years? Oh, MadVoters. Have you noticed their numbers, you guys, on their social media feeds? Oh, guess what? They're getting lots and lots of views and comments and shares. So more people in Indiana know what's going on. So they can't keep doing this. If we turn out and vote, Republicans, pay attention, turn out and vote for better people. Let's do this, right?
Right. And the Civics Lab, when you leave the Civics Lab next Saturday, it's only 90 minutes. It's free. There'll be snacks. You can put your representatives' numbers in your phone, right? So you'll know their email address, and you'll know, oh, this is what they can do. This is what they can't do. This is how I can get involved. And that's really the bottom line, right? Like, who represents me? What are they doing? How can I share with them whatever it is I think? Pro, con, whatever. Again, MadVoters is nonpartisan. They want you to understand how
Yes.
the legislature works. And they're not telling you who to vote for.
And is Floyd forward partisan, nonpartisan?
We are nonpartisan, yes. We want candidates who are looking ahead to the future. And Floyd County is 50% female, and our county government is not 50% female. And we feel like women have a certain point of view, a certain set of life experiences that should be reflected in the government. We do also the unpaid care. We're the ones, driving everyone around everywhere. When our parents get sick, we're the one caring for them.
I kind of feel like if we were 50% female in the government, they would be more willing to help public education and daycare and, pre-K, universal pre-K, and issues that really matter to women that are making it very hard for us to be successful in our lives, because we have such a burden on raising our children. And yes, we love raising our children, but like having someone babysit is expensive. That's why we're having this show right now, because my children are at school.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that. Let's get more women in there. That's a great idea. And commissioners, for everybody, because I didn't know what commissioners did until I started getting involved in my local party. Commissioners say yes or no to money. They give away tax dollars. They give away our tax dollars to certain people. People come and ask, do you want to fund this or do you not want to fund this? So they can shut down programs that are useful. And that is what's happening in your county. And they could also support programs that help people. And then it goes to the county council, and the county council says yes or no. So it goes through 2 checks and balances. However, if your commissioners and your county council are all one party and they're all listening to the same voice and they're not listening to us, it kind of takes away the checks and balances. And that's sort of what's happened right now in our state.
Right. I mean, when you're elected to office, you represent everybody. You don't get to pick who you represent. You don't get to just represent your friends. I mean, Gary Byrne represents me just like he represents, well, no, I'm sorry, he doesn't. No, he does. He's my senator. Yeah.
Yeah. He's your senator. Yeah.
What did the maps look like today? But yeah, elected officials represent all of us, and how you spend your money is a reflection of your values and your priorities. And again, how are they spending our money in Indiana? They're going to spend maybe up to $30,000 a day to do this special session. If it happens, it hasn't happened yet, but chances are good. So we can't fund the Imagination Library that sends out free books, but we can spend
Oh, all my kids
$30,000
got
a day.
those. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library. Those books are
Yeah.
the best.
So, what are our priorities and how do we influence them as taxpayers? How do we influence the people who work for us? That's the point of the Civics Lab. I hope you all will come next Saturday, 1 o'clock at the Cultural Center in New Albany, which is the Carnegie Center, basically. So
if you are listening to this and you are in another state, I guarantee every single state has organizations similar to MadVoters. You just need to research them. Feel free to put them in the comments of wherever you are watching this show, like what state you're in and what organization. We work with organizations across the country to plan and organize and to try to make our government more reflective on the people, regardless of your political party. So yeah, I'm really thankful to MadVoters. I'm really thankful to you. Thank you for starting this new thing, and thank you for running it with Deanna. I love her. She's amazing. So kind and smart and gentle, and I just want to give her a hug every time I see her. So thank you for doing this. MadVoters, keep it up. You all are awesome. I think that I would mentally be struggling more if I didn't have their info easily letting me know what's going on, because I don't have time to figure it out myself, again,
right.
because our government hides it.
Right. But we care about our communities, right? We care, right? We're not trying to be in charge. We want everybody to get a fair shake. We want our tax dollars to benefit everyone equally. We want good places to live. I mean, to me, that's the bottom line, right?
We want quality education, good air, good water. We want our environment. We want our food to be healthy for us. Just basic, decent things. Healthcare. We would like to live a healthy lives and be able to go to the doctor or see an OBGYN locally. They're just basic things we need that our government is hurting us from. Yeah, thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and get off. And good luck with this Civic Literacy Lab. So everybody come if you're in New Albany, if you're around the or in the area. I'm pretty close to New Albany. If you're in this area in District 9 or in Southern Indiana, just please, if you can come. There's snacks. It's an hour and a half, and have all your questions, or just come up with your questions when you're there. Know nothing about local government, know tons of stuff about local government, doesn't matter. And especially meet community. Meet people who also care, because this is stressful, what is happening in our state, in our country. It's important that we meet like-minded people that care. So, and it's hard to make friends as adults, right? I've made a ton of friends through running for state house, and it's how I met you. I wouldn't know you if I wasn't involved. So yeah. Thank you. Thanks everybody. Please share. Please send this episode to somebody that, maybe they might want to come with you, so you don't have to come alone. I don't like to go to events alone. Bring a friend with you, and follow madvoters.org. They're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then sign up and get the newsletter. Yeah. I follow all of them, and then I see different info on each. So follow all of them. MadVoters, you rock. Veronica, you're amazing. Good luck with Floyd Forward. And we need you all to run for stuff. You don't need to know anything about local. We will teach you. We just need you to care about the community and to care about our future. And let's make this state better. So if you care, we need you to run.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody.